They have to act now is because they were, after we hit their nuclear sites and their ballistic missiles program, you'd think they learned a lesson, but they didn't, because they're unreformable. They're totally fanatic about this, about the goal of destroying America. So they started building new sites, new places, underground bunkers that would make their ballistic missile program and their atomic bomb program immune within months. If no action is taken now, no action could be taken in the future. And then they could target America, they could blackmail America, they could threaten us and threaten everyone in between. So action had to be taken, and you needed a resolute president like Donald J. Trump to take that action. And we are his very strong and able partners, and our alliance today is so strong. We had to take the action now, and we did. Otherwise, the Iranian mass murder regime would have immunity from future action.
Steve Witkoff made this statement, the Middle Eastern envoy, and he made it last week, that they absolutely are clinging to their ability to build out a nuclear weapons program. And the president, as he said, he wanted a peace deal, gave them every opportunity for peace, like they did before Operation Midnight Hammer. And they steadfastly refused. In the first 30 seconds, I've never seen anything like this in my life. The supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and his top 40 leaders were wiped out, Ahmadinejad among them. That is incredible intelligence, and wow, I'm sure this will be studied for centuries to come, not decades.
Well, you know, when America, the indispensable ally for Israel and the greatest power in the world, and Israel, America's model ally, as the National Security Council just called it. When we work together, amazing things happen. We work together and amazing things happen. But I have to tell you that it wouldn't happen without the leadership of President Trump. Because he just, you know, I met him in Mar-a-Lago. You may remember this because I think you were close by and I saw you at that time, right before his re-election. Okay? And before he was inaugurated the second time. And we met in Mar-a-Lago. And the first thing that Donald Trump said to me, he said, you know, we have to prevent Iran from getting nukes. As simple as that. He said that because he saw that as a clear and present danger to the security and well-being of the United States. To have a regime like that, so fanatic, that it just defines itself by destroying America, exporting revolution, exporting terrorism, exporting the worst Islamist fanaticism that attacks Arabs, attacks Israelis, attacks Americans, attacks everyone in sight. They just fired now their boat in sight around the Middle East, including Cyprus and Europe. To have a regime like that plans to eradicate the United States, have the weapons of mass death, would have been the greatest threat that America would face in the coming decades. And so he said to me right off the bat, I didn't say to him, he said to me, we have to make sure they never get the nukes. And that's what he did. We tried first to take them out in Midnight Hammer and Rising Lion operation, and we took out their missile sites, but then they started again. Their missile and nuclear sites, they didn't learn the lesson. He tried to get negotiations, he negotiated with them, they didn't get it. They tried to string them along. So action had to be taken, and we took it.
President Trump repeated over and over and over again, and I would argue that the leadership that is now dead was a death cult and an existential threat, not just to the region, not just to Israel, death to America, but I am very convinced and have been convinced, as you have been for decades, that if they ever got nuclear weapons, that they would, you know, along with their fanaticism, it would cause them to use it. That is what that death cult would cause them to do. Is this now the culmination of decades of your work and your belief and your passion that these radicals needed to be defeated? And what is next for Iran? You know, we talk about, well, the regime's changed, but we don't know into what yet. What are your thoughts?
Well, you're right. I have spoken about it for decades, and I try to persuade successive American administrations to take firm action. And President Trump, in his first term, did. He got out of the disastrous Iran deal right off the bat. And he did everything he could to prevent them from going into the nuclear program that they seek to build atomic bombs to threaten us and you, and ultimately to attack both of us and to destroy as much as they can, because this is what these people do. They basically are in the business of mass death, and you're right to call them a death cult. I worked with several presidents. I always appreciated the fact that we had, well, forthright discussions. Often we agreed, but often we disagreed. And I appreciated that we kept the alliance going. But I want to tell you something. I'm not a youngster, so I've been around. There's never been a president like Donald J. Trump. His resoluteness, his decisiveness, his clarity of thinking, the way he gets right to the crux of things. He cuts through all the fluff, cuts through the chase, gets down to the main point, and it gets down to the main action that needs to be taken. And I think for Israel, and I think for the countries of the free world, let me tell you, I think for the world, we're very lucky to have him as the leader of the free world, and in fact the leader of the world. He's brought America back to being the leader of the world, and it makes a huge difference. And I can I'm talking to America's allies in the region, just one by one by one, and I can't quote from these conversations, but I can tell you they all share this, and they all say, thank God that Donald Trump is here. Thank God that the two of you are acting together to remove this threat, not only to you, but to us. And Iran today just bombed with these ballistic missiles, these weapons of mass death, these weapons of terror. They're terror weapons. They bombed all these countries. They bombed Cyprus, which is Europe. I've said it won't take very long. They're bombing us, then they bomb Europe, and when they develop the intercontinental ballistic missiles and the nuclear wars to fit on these ballistic missiles, they'll threaten you, and eventually they'll bomb you. This is what President Trump understood. And alone among U.S. presidents that I worked with, he took action. And we're all very, very lucky that he did.
I think that history will, through the prism of history, he will be viewed very favorably by recognizing a threat. In the last century, you're a historian, Mr. Prime Minister, between Mao, China, Stalin, Russia, Hitler, Germany, Mussolini, fascism, Tojo, Japan, Pol Pot, the killing fields, estimated over 100 million human souls slaughtered in the name of some ism. Now we see the president and a prime minister partnering together to stop a threat before it emerges and becomes unstoppable, which I got to give you both so much credit for. It is transformational. It is consequential. I guess I want to look forward a little bit. We had in his first term the Abraham Accords. I know that there are countries in your region of the world that have been looking for a window of opportunity. I'm talking about the likes of Saudi Arabia and the UAE and Dubai and Egypt and Jordan, etc. Do you see a path to a long-lasting peace in the region, which we've not seen in forever?
Yes, I do. In fact, I hear the people are telling you we're going to have an endless war here. You're not going to have an endless war, because we are point that we've been, and Iran, this terror regime in Iran is the weakest point that it's been here since it hijacked Iran from the brave Iranian people 47 years ago. So this is going to be a quick and decisive action, and we're going to create the conditions first for the Iranian people to get control of their destiny, to form their own democratically elected government, which will make Iran a different Iran altogether, because Iran has been the main engine of war over these years. It's just 95% of all the problems you see in the Middle East are generated by Iran. And the worldwide terror network that they built is generated and orchestrated from Iran. So when you take away Iran, when you let the people of Iran have the opportunity to act and liberate themselves, free themselves from the yoke of this terror machine, you get a different future. I think that for many peace treaties with other Arab countries, with Muslim countries. I think it changes the world. Now, of course, it's up to the people of Iran in the final count to change the government. But we are creating, America and Israel together are creating the conditions for them to do so. I think that if we go through what we plan to do, I think it will create conditions for peace. This is not an endless war. This is, in fact, something that will usher in an era of peace that we haven't even dreamed of.
You know, the president said to the people of Iran, the hour of freedom is at hand. And, you know, you've been asking America for years to do this, and now your window is here. You know, seize this moment. Don't let it pass. It might be the only opportunity you have in a generation, and I'm hopeful that that's true. In a conversation with Senator Lindsey Graham, he said to me that he believes that probably one of the key countries in all of this would be Saudi Arabia and MBS. Do you specifically see Pat there? A path for peace?
Yeah, well, I think Saudi Arabia will have a lot to gain. I think all these countries around Iran are threatened by Iran. I think they want to see this regime go down, even if they don't publicly say that. They've just been targeted by Iran. So obviously, if Iran is removed, that's a great boon to Saudi Arabia, a great boon to these other countries. And I think peace between Israel and Saudi Arabia would be really possible and probably very close once this thing happens. So this is a gateway for peace, for broader peace, and I believe that we can achieve it. The most important thing to understand is that when we work together, President Trump and I, we achieved, in fact, 4 breakthroughs for peace, brokered by President Trump, working together with me. We brought forward the Abraham Accords, which was 4 peace treaties with 4 Arab countries, and now, working together against Iran, we'll be able to bring many, many more peace treaties. So this is not an endless war. This is a gateway to peace. It's the exact opposite of what people are saying.
Mr. Prime Minister, I think history will study this military effort, and it will be, as I said, be studied for centuries. But, you know, also you took out their air defense systems, their missile defense system, ballistic missile systems. You know, you got the 10 top guys in Hamas. You got Nasrallah, who'd been in power for 30 some odd years. You had the pager incident. Donald Trump dropped 14 bunker buster bombs and took out and obliterated their nuclear facilities. I mean, I know there's war colleges. Just all of these incidents combined will be a lifetime worth of study, in my view. And I want to ask you this, you know, there are people that say, well, the Prime Minister of Israel dragged Donald Trump into it. And as somebody that's been friends with him over 30 years, nobody drags Donald Trump into anything, number one, but I want to get your reaction to that.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's ridiculous. Donald Trump is the strongest leader in the world. He does what he thinks is right for America. He does also what he thinks is right for future generations. And frankly, we're partners in that effort because I've devoted my life to securing the life of the one and only Jewish state. And believe me, it's been a struggle. I've known the pangs of war. I lost a brother in war in battle. I myself fought terrorists and was wounded in liberating hostages from a hijacked plane. I held a fellow soldier in my arms when I was 18, and he died in my arms. I know the cost of war, but I know sometimes that war is necessary to protect us from the people who would destroy us. And that's what free societies have to understand. Freedom is precious, but it has to be protected. And we have to understand that we're fighting here. We're fighting here the bad guys. We're the good guys. These people massacred their own people. Imagine what they would do. These people would chant death to America if they had the ballistic missiles and the nuclear warheads to deliver to every American city. Do you want to wait? Do you want to bet your future on whether they would do it or they would not do it? I mean, look, nobody stopped North Korea, so they now have ballistic missiles and nuclear warheads. But they don't say death to America. Iran is 50 North Koreas. Iran is committed to your destruction. And whether people understand it or not, the leader has to understand it. Donald Trump understands it. You don't have to drag him into anything, and nobody will do it anyway. He does what he thinks is right, and this is right. And let me tell you, I visited today a town in Israel. Okay? This town, yesterday, a ballistic missile, it's like a truck, it's like a bus full of TNT, comes in at Mach 8 and slams right into a synagogue. Okay? And right around there, 9 people murdered. So here's the difference between us. These mass murderers in Tehran, they target civilians. We in Israel and America target the mass terrorists. That's a nutshell of the difference. And we have to protect our world against these people. And if these people have the weapons of mass death, these mass murderers, then you'll have mass death. And then people will ask, well, why didn't you act in time? Why didn't you do something about it? Winston Churchill called this the slumber of democracies. He said that they slumber, they go to sleep, and they wake up only when the jarring gong of danger wakes them up. Well, I think in this case, President Trump and I think differently. We don't have to sleep. We don't have to slumber. We don't have to look askance, look aside and say there is no danger. There is great danger, and it's time to act. The good guys need to act early enough. And there are those leaders, so-called leaders, who don't see it. And they just sit back and they say, oh, well, it's a terrible thing. No, it's not a terrible thing. To protect humanity, to protect America, to protect Israel, to protect the free world from this theological thuggery, these fanatics who don't care, who just export death, mass death everywhere, build terror armies to strangle the people of Lebanon and the people of Gaza and the people of other people. That's what they do. So to act against them is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And it's high time that the people of the free societies understood that they have to act to protect their freedom and our way of life. We're fighting barbarians. Israel is at the front line of this battle against barbarism. And America under President Trump has entered this fight to protect our civilization and to protect our common future.
Well, I hope the people in Europe are listening, and very specifically Macron in France and the leader in Spain. And I can tell you this, as Starmer is no Winston Churchill. I hope they hear they have let their guard down when it comes to national security and national defense. They have allowed unfettered illegal immigration without assimilation, resulting in 80 some odd Sharia courts in Great Britain and no-go zones in other parts of Europe. I hope they watch and witness and learn from President Trump and from you, Mr. Prime Minister. I pray for all the people in the region, and I pray for a lasting peace. That would be my dream, my prayer for everybody in the region, and we do appreciate your time tonight, sir.
Well, thank you. And it's called peace through strength. It's not a slogan. It's the most basic reality, the basic rule in a very unkind world. You have to be strong to protect freedom. You have to be strong to protect your values. And you have to really resolve to take action. I said it could be quick and decisive. It may take some time, but it's not going to take years. It's not an endless war. In fact, it's an effort right now to achieve the peace that we all yearn and pray for. And I think together we'll achieve it.
Yeah, I pray you're right. Mr. Prime Minister, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, thank you.